Appreciate it. Thank you.
Hey everyone, this is our Sprint Release video for the product marketing team for July 14th. I don't know, Filza, do you want to speak for Tina because she's out, or do you want to come back to you?
Nope, I can speak for Tina. So Tina's out this week, but she's made a ton of progress on the features/solutions page. So wrapped up all of the stakeholder interviews. And now we're just at a place where we need to realign with Michael and Cindy and Dave, just to see how we want to do next steps, because I think we want to revisit whether we want it to be a solutions page or a features page, because the argument could kind of be made for both. So we're going to see what we can do there. And then also next steps would be for some user testing as well next week. So a lot of great progress. I'm excited to share more with that with the team when Tina returns. And I'll pass it over to Javi.
Thank you, Filza. This iteration, I worked on adding J4 to learn GitLab.com. That's completely closed off, ready to go. There's some things that Dennis once worked on across all of the GA4 implementations that are outside of the scope of the MR. So that's something we're going to look to do in the future. Most of my iteration was trying to add J4 to GitLab.com. That MR is in its first pass through, so it's outside of our cadence, and now it's going to go on through its own process and see how that goes. I spent 5 points of my iteration working on a launch Starkly iteration. I'm going to share my screen quickly, or maybe not so quickly. So we had this message of when trying to run a test on production of our MAUs being super high. Reached out to support. They reassured me that we weren't, wouldn't ever be charged extra. We just can't see some of the users on this tab right here. So we talked about what were some of the issues that were coming up with that, and one of the biggest was which the Launch Darkly SDK was being initialized after every page load. So we worked on trying to move that logic over to the client-side component so that it only be rendered when components actually get called. So that's important. And I had other things on my iteration, but those items were kind of big and went long. So it's all that I had time for. Passing it over to Nathan.
Thanks. Last iteration. So the biggest thing was Slippers 2.0.15, which now I think about it, it probably should have been 2.1. Well, too late now. And in it has like typography, buttons. I posted in the digital experience channel. So if you want to take a look at all the changes in there. And then I created an epic that's going to house all, like, I guess, major releases. And then each major release, you can see the kind of the structure of the issues. And then there's blockers and all that, release notes and all that sort of stuff. But with it, I also updated Storybook to 6.5. And so in 6.5, we get, there's like a plugin that we can use with Figma. And so I want to try it out. That's going to sync Figma and Storybook. And so maybe if it works out, we'll be able to not have to constantly catch up, I guess, to design. And maybe when they make a change, it'll just kind of propagate both ways. And then I also added a section in Storybook, or I guess in Slippers, called compositions. And so we've had components, and those are kind of like base level components, like the Lego blocks. But now that we start to create more kind of complicated components, they're not really components, they're more compositions of components. So I created a new section in there for that. And then on top of this, just small things like what Matteo and I were talking about earlier, just embeds for videos and random other small things. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it for me. Matteo, I don't know, throw it over to next. But
yeah, I was working on some more leadership pages. Unfortunately, some of those had to be reverted. The one that didn't get reverted was the cloud transformation one. And I was also working on some fixes for the tracking. Some data attributes were wrong in a couple of pages. Also updating some images in the DevOps site and adding a CTA to the header for the topics header component. Yeah, that's it for me. I'll pass it to Margaret.
Yes, So this past iteration, I've been working on the release post features, but now I'm gonna be working on the rollback of most of those features. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna be working on today. I also been working on the side on the features landing page, and I guess that will be my main work for the next couple of days. That's it for me. I'm not sure. That's it.
Cool. I spoke at the conversion meeting. So I think unless we have anything else, Filza?